Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2.
Architectural review to order. And Josh is joining now, so I just want to give him a chance, and then we'll have a full group. Okay. Hi, Karen. Okay. Josh, can you hear us? There, I see you're coming on. There you are.
Hi.
Okay. Hi. Okay. The first application is Pays for the new home. Welcome back. Perhaps you could update us. I know you're still going through the planning board process in seeking to get your site plan approved, but perhaps tonight you can update us on what you've changed in the architectural and other plans, maybe by taking control of the screen.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. John, I'm just going to share my screen.
Sure. You should be able to. Yep.
Okay, so I just prepared, I kind of put everything in one file so it's easily viewable. These were the objectives. Kevin, if you want to take over, that's completely fine. Yeah.
Sure. So some of the changes that we made since our last meeting were that the coping at the retaining wall was changed from a 3-inch coping to a 6-inch thick bluestone coping. The cast stone base was added around the perimeter, and that was done at the first floor line. Instead of continuing the 4-inch by 8-inch water table at the left side, because it was so close to the grade, I just changed it to a 2.5-inch thick base, like with a bevel top, almost like a base trim that carries around the left side of the house and the garage. The walls at the left of the terrace show beveled cast stone trim projecting a 1/2 inch off the walls. Well, we just talked about that. Drawing 400A shows cast stone string course between the first and second floors. So maybe we can go to the elevations, Deb.
Sure. And then Karen made a few landscaping plan changes, and she shows a few photos of proposed materials. Okay.
So before we get into the into some of the elevations, so this is Ochre Court, one of the houses that was also used as inspiration for the Pace's house. And this house is limestone, not stucco. It does not have coins. It does have the copper leaders and conductor heads as some vertical elements on the facade. It also does have some horizontal string courses as well. Could you, and then Rob sent us this, and kind of as inspiration, I think just more for the coins and the rusticated base.
Yeah.
And so I guess this is a little bit more of a French country house, although it does have some of the Chateauesque elements on it. But we did take some of that into account as far as the coins go.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the two options presented. One at the bottom, option number 1 is what we basically submitted last time with the lead-coated copper leaders on the facade. Deb, could you blow up option number 1 a little bit?
Sure.
Or you know what, why don't I, at this point, why don't I take over on my screen, and that way I can point to things and
Sure.
Let me share my screen. Can you unshare?
I'm gonna stop share, yep.
Okay. So we added the rusticated base that wraps around the right side of the house here where the grade drops off. And that water table band is an 8-inch deep. So it has a total projection of 8 inches off the house, and then it's 4 inches high. And then it has 24-inch by 12-inch cast stone blocks underneath it. And I'm thinking that it'll have like to mimic a rope saw cut, like a textured surface on those blocks to give it a little bit more rustication. And then that wraps around the front of the terrace here. And then this is at the left side. I transitioned it to a simple cast stone band with a mitered top because there's really not that much exposed on the left side here. And I think that was the extent of the change on this elevation. And then this elevation shows the same elevation with coins on the cast stone coins on the corners. And for this, I had to push the doors and windows in a little bit more so it wasn't crowded out by the coins. And, I think that's going to be a general problem around the whole house because I didn't do it on the back yet and the sides. Just wanted to kind of work it out on the front first. But that is going to become an issue with conflicts with windows and doors. So, I mean, my personal opinion is that I prefer the lead-coated copper conductor heads and leaders. I think it adds a nice, elegant touch to it without being, I think this is just a little bit overbearing. And, like I said at the last meeting, the cast stone coins or stone coins in general are usually used historically as a, almost like a zipper to hold the masonry together at the corners. And although you do see it on some Chateau S structures, there's many of them that don't have it. Let me go, this is the one with the string course. So basically this is the exact same options that I discussed before, but let me zoom this in a little bit. So this just has a simple 6-inch high by 3-inch deep string course, cast stone string course on it. And then that separates the first and second floor lines essentially.
I have to say, just having the rusticated base at the water table plus the string course to kind of bind the whole program together does seem very satisfying.
I agree with Rob.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
tend to agree with that too.
Yeah, I
Mine-
think
Yes,
that's the best option.
I agree too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. It looks, I'm sorry I missed the last meeting, so I wasn't aware of the changes, but this thing looks fantastic. The only comment that I have on this visual at the moment is everything's, when the eye goes across, it's so great that there's these different window sizes here on the, starting from the right and then going towards the left. And then it's framed at the other end with different shapes and sizes. You've got that central body. The weak point to me is just the third and fourth window in from the left. That area, yeah.
Yeah,
That's, it's too homogeneous with the it's like a railroad train.
yeah, I agree.
If something can be done
I
there,
agree as well.
different
Okay.
shapes, sizes, that would
Okay.
make the whole thing look more of a work of art than
I
a
think that's a-
supersized me.
It's a great note, Christopher.
Is your point, right?
Yeah, now, Mrs. Zucker, do you suggest maybe perhaps having one window in that area to replace the two, or maybe just different sizes for those two windows?
I think it, maybe one window, but to get a different size, I think is so important. In the same way that those skinny windows on the far right are
Right.
so happy, compared to the other ones because
If
have
I
their own
might
character.
interject, I could more easily see having 3 narrow ones than one.
Or maybe two of like these windows here, something
Or-
similar to
or
that.
2 with more wall space, right?
Yeah,
We see
okay.
it gives
You know,
the,
it might be an opportunity as well for ivy cover or climbing hydrangea or something. Sometimes you'll see, certain parts of an elevation will kind of welcome that kind of thing more than others. And sometimes they confine it in one section.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. I mean, we are doing it in the back by the arches, but it'll look great in the front as well.
Nice.
Something to break it up, yeah, because
Mhm.
otherwise it's too
Yeah.
monotonous with all the same size windows and things.
Agreed.
That's lovely, Kevin. It really, it's gorgeous.
Thank you. One other change that I'm going to make, but I haven't formally submitted it, is to make these dormers originally I had these dormers pretty large, just more for the interior bedroom space. But I realize now that they're kind of overbearing for the size of this garage. So if you notice, the dormers on the main house are actually smaller than these dormers. So I'm gonna reduce the scale of those a bit too.
Mhm. But I do think those laterals that you've brought into this iteration are so much more satisfying.
I agree. Thank you, Rob. Thank you for the suggestion.
No, my pleasure.
So I guess, with the cast stone, as it is a pricey item, I did stop that. Hold on one second. Let me just go around the side here. Sorry. So let me come around the right side of the house here. So on the right side, one sec. So on the right side, I brought the rusticated base around at the same level, and it lines up with the terrace here, and I have it continue on the terrace stair. And then I felt it should stop there because this is the terrace beyond, which is stucco, and then it wraps around the rear as stucco. And it really, I felt, if I brought it to the end here and then transitioned to stucco at the back, it would be terrible. And bringing the cast stone around the rear of the house, because we have these cast stone elliptical trim pieces on the facade at the rear terrace. And then Karen wants to introduce some climbing rose bushes, I believe, Karen?
That's correct.
At some intervals here, which we have to show that here, but I felt like there was no reason to bring that rusticated base around the rear.
I think this is a wonderful solution.
I do too.
Absolutely. I think if you go back to this, go to this one here, that works better. The arch underneath the the smaller arch, if you can point to that one, yeah. I think because the rustication is so massive and strong, I think that pretty arch with that decorative element somehow conflicts, I think, with the rustication. You've got all the fancy balustrading. So I think something just a little bit more severe there would look better. But then on the other one on the right, that if you're doing the stucco, then that's fine. It doesn't clash. So I think you're not doing the rustication there is a good plan.
Right. So are you asking to change this to more better integrated with the rustication?
Possibly, yeah. It sticks out a little bit. It doesn't seem so appropriate. It seems too fancy for a rustication. Just needs to be plain and simple in my book.
That makes sense as well to me.
Okay, probably even do something like a raised band that that keeps the rustication wrapping around the inside of the arch, and then do a key on top that could be integrated. I'll try a couple different options.
Nice.
Oh, Kevin, I have a question for you.
Yes.
This window, this dormer that's above, or I guess it's looking onto the side, not on the, not over
Streets.
on the corner, on the left-hand side, on the top right. Will that be reduced in size as well, you think, or?
Yes, it will.
Okay,
Yeah, that's on the garage beyond.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Okay, visually, I got it.
Yeah, that's way I mean, that's like 80
Yeah.
feet back from here, 70 feet back. You know, this dormer's smaller because it's on top of the turret. So I think it kind of conflicts.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's what
You'll
I-
never see that. You'll never see it like that though.
That window in the middle at the top on the second floor, that one, yeah, that's great because it's a whole different sort of type of window. That's what we're sort of alluding to on the front, so that it's not matchy. So
Right.
maybe it could be that, what, you know, on the first floor, and then two skinnier ones on the second floor or something like that, but
Okay.
to allow the to break the movement of the eye.
Okay.
Mhm.
Kevin, that's actually a good idea because that area is where the mudroom is. So if we're sitting there, kind of make it a bench area, then that window would look nice.
Sure. Okay.
Don't remember whether I can.
And then the rear, I don't think, oh, you know what? I didn't continue the rustication around the side here on the turret, but I will. Just realized that. And I don't believe I made any other changes to the rear. I'm sorry, hold on one second. It's maddening.
Some-
Okay, that's what I want to show. And then the south facade, I did not make any changes to this either. Except the, which you can't see here, but the coping stone, the bluestone coping will be changed to 6 inches thick
Mm,
at the
nice.
parking court walls. We are actually working on an elevation of this facade for the neighbors, for the Stiers, showing the wall in the foreground and the arborvitae buffer, which is going to go in here, as well as the side of the trash enclosure here, so you can get a better, you know, more realistic view of what will be seen from the neighbor's property.
Mhm.
So we'll show you that at the next meeting.
Okay.
And
Anything else on the plans? Did you want to show us some of the landscaping at this point, or besides that, or is that?
I think that's that's it for me, and then I think
Yeah.
Karen can,
Yeah, Karen, do you want?
Kevin, do you want to stop share and then I'll go back to the,
Oh, so
Sure.
one question just before you go, the front elevation part, would just without the coin, the edging, you decided on the option that so the drain pipes they're going to show, right? Option
that's correct. So there
great,
would be-
perfect, yeah, because that adds a sort of real feeling to it to make it look I don't know what the word is, but more appropriate. Yeah, so that's great to keep them.
Okay. Yeah, and at this point, I have these all as lead coated copper, but I'm kind of torn between lead coated and natural copper.
And just
I think-
a point about not your immediate neighbours, but the neighbours one over, the Sink property. They did an extensive renovation in addition to their home, and so it looks, you know, newish and very well. So you know, it could be new or it could be an old house restored. The fact that they on the rear side, if you look at the rear side, there was an old elevator shaft that they removed the elevator, but they kept the top part of it because it was very expensive or something to remove. So it's an anomaly. It looks weird, but it makes the house, it proves the house is an old house. It adds this element of character to it as opposed to something brand new. So that yeah, anything that you can do to, you know, like with the drain pipes or an unusual window or something that's, you know, not so predictable is great to add, to give a more character to the place. And I especially applaud the efforts you've made about making those pillow cut tops of the pillars. That is just a huge icing of the cake, as it were. A fabulous small detail that speaks volumes in giving this house some real character and dignity, and so that was just my last point.
And Kevin, if I can just interject, I think that the choice of lead for the downspouts and gutters and so on and so forth is probably the better one for this period, and the more striking one, and would bind together the program better.
That was my initial thought as well.
And I'd be curious, at some point down the line, whenever appropriate, to see those gorgeous flares that you have just below the we're not using the expression dentals, but the how did you put it? Right below the roof line. You see those where the
Oh, the corbels?
the corbels, right below the
Mhm.
corbels, where the guttering flames out into a
Mhm.
nice architectural detail. You see, yeah. Oh,
Like right here?
no, sorry. If we can go back to the
But the leader-
downspouts and the down, there we are.
Are you talking about the leader or the?
The leader, exactly.
Conductor heads?
The conductor heads. I would love to see what you're thinking of for that. I mean, the complex that our house is part of has these spectacular, and in this instance, they are copper, but these spectacular leaders that are quite a big part of the architectural program. Actually, they play an integral role with the string course,
Right.
punctuating it. And I think to Christopher's point about some of these details that really dignify and suggest something that was there in 1910 or 1920, 1930, that might be a really interesting area to have some fun, but also build some cred.
Sure.
Add eccentricities, I think they're saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
totally.
Absolutely, and not to have them all the same. So maybe in one of them is slightly different or a smaller version, so they're not all matchy, because then that's a giveaway. But it's a new house that everything is the matching.
Okay.
Kevin, where are you with the front doors? I know you're
Well, so right now we have this, showing an oak and wrought iron front door with an ellipse top. And I think we were heading in, let me see if I can find the photo of that. Thought I had that photo here.
So one of the inspirations that I was kind of when Kevin and I
Kind
were
of like that,
discussing
I
the
believe.
doors,
Mm.
we were looking at Parisian homes and the doors that they have, and even in the city itself, and the doorknobs always kind of face down.
Yep.
They're not, and so we're trying to find a door. I mean, I'm not sure if it has to be custom made, but something along those lines is what we're going for.
Nice.
Excellent.
I think that's something similar to what's shown. Let me see. I mean, it's pretty much based on that door there. And of course, that door will be recessed quite a bit into the
Right.
into the portico.
Mm-hmm.
You know exactly what you're shooting for. Thank you.
Thank you. Karen, do you want to show us what
Sure.
additions you made?
Yes.
Yeah, Kevin, if you want to stop
Yep.
sharing, then I'll go back to my share. Yeah, thank you. Mhm.
So as part during the design, we made a walkway that goes out to Tower Hill Road that's basically level with a street, and it passes through the existing wall area. So, and in that area, we thought to introduce this walkway so that people can see it, and when they park can know where it is. We thought we would put 2 small pedestrian scaled columns next to it. And those are shown on the right. They're only 4 feet high with a little light, and the big pillow top granite tops. And then we also did a detail showing, Deb, if you want to go to the other columns, we showed the pillow tops on the entry to the driveway, and also the entry to the car parking area, the motor court area of the garage. So these are the what the columns will look like with the pillow tops. And then as far as landscaping, Deb, do you want me to talk about landscaping? You will share the screen for the landscaping?
Yeah, which is that is that L3 or?
It's L6, I think. We're getting up there.
Okay, go ahead.
There
Yep.
we go.
Yep.
Okay. So if you want to, if I could take control of the screen just so that I can point to things.
Okay, then I'll stop share. Yep.
Yes, and I have to open.
Okay.
So let me get your drawing. Sorry, it's going to be a second before I get the drawing. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Not yet.
Okay. Come on.
I can see a screen, but do you have a little pointer that you can point on it so we know it's yours?
I just have to find the Zoom now. Okay, so here, share screen. Okay, now it just takes me a little bit, and when I finally get there. Okay, can you see this now?
I know. No.
Okay, so we developed the landscape plan since we last met. We showed screening along the sides of the property. We showed some plant material in the front.
Karen, do you think we can see your screen?
We can't see a screen
We
yet.
cannot
see it. Okay,
Just go back to,
okay, so let me try that again. I did this well last time. All right, here we go. And let me
There
try
you
this
go.
one more time. Shoot. Jackie, I can't find Pays on here.
The top one, the very top one,
The Pays drawing.
the very top one.
I can't find it.
Is it up the very top one?
Sorry, it's gonna do, I just have to find it on my laptop. Oh, here, got it.
Right.
All right, can you see it now?
No. We see your listings.
Karen, double click on that. You didn't actually launch it.
Double click on the screen sharing.
No, on the page, the first doc.
Okay,
The one you clicked on before.
yeah, double click on the PDF that you.
There you go.
okay, thank you for your patience. Okay, so we've developed the landscape plan since we last met. Put the entry plantings around the columns.
Nice.
A small tree along with boxwood and flowering plants. We showed some flowering trees, Cercis canadensis, eastern redbud, to kind of define the front yard and give a little privacy to the side lawn. As you drive around the driveway, as you know, we're saving the big copper beech tree, and we're putting Pachysandra underneath it so that it stays, so that lawnmowers stay away from the root area. The preserved wall, above the preserved wall between that and the driveway turnaround, we are proposing a bunch of hydrangeas. And then this is the walkway. It would be a simple bluestone walkway out to the Tower Hill Road. Should people decide to park on the road, they could just walk at the same level right into the circular drive, right into the home. We are also showing a couple of small flowering trees over here, and more eastern redbuds to kind of balance the eastern redbuds over here, and to just give a little softening to the protrusion of the house over here. We're dressing up the front of the walls with some red Sprite inkberry, red Sprite winterberry. As you know from previous meetings, you only see the wall from the very beginning because we took it out of the ground to help screen the parking court from the Tower Hill Road. But I just wanted to dress this area up a little. For the neighbors, we're showing 11 green giant arborvitaes. And again, as you know from the last meeting, we increased the size and we asked for a variance for a 6-foot-high wall that is only visible on the driveway side, on the Pace side, not visible on the neighbor side, but we wanted to do that to have a nice level area for planting. And in that area, we're going to put green giant arborvitaes and also some plants that are going to weep over the wall and just create a soft view for the Paces. We've been developing this plan a little bit more, showing a little bit more screen planting in here. And on this side, we're also showing additional screen planting. I showed some leatherleaf viburnums underneath the beech tree just to provide a little more screening for the skiers, and that'll be on a future plan. And then again, here where it's all open, we're showing more of the green giants with some eastern redbud in the foreground. As we go around into the backyard, like Kevin said, we would like to see some plantings on the arbors, and we're showing climbing roses on the arbors. And then there would be lower flowering plants, roses in the beds, as well as some lavender, so that it'll smell really beautiful. In the rain garden on this side, we're showing again all hydrangeas for summer blooms or for the swimming pool area. In the backdrop is Magnolia virginianus. I forget the common name, but it's a native magnolia. It grows about 15 feet or 15 to 20 feet high. The common name is Sweet Bay magnolia. It doesn't flower prolifically like the rest of the other magnolias, but it flowers sporadically. But when it does flower, it fills the air with fragrance. So we thought that would be a nice touch. Plus the big leaves of the magnolia make it look a little tropical. And again, it provides another layer of screening of the pool area from the neighboring property. On the back side, we showed Steed's holly that will completely hide the wall. And I do have a photograph on the next drawing, I believe, and we'll share that with you. Actually, I can do it right now. Of let's see, of the Beard property where we, well, it's not coming up right now, but where we planted the same exact plant and it completely hid. Let me try to get this one up.
Kevin, Karen, it's on there. You just have to move your.
On the right side. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that. So, I took a better picture of this, so it won't be so dark in the next submission. But you see the band of green right there? That is Steed's holly, and the Beard's wall was much higher than the proposed Pays wall. The proposed Pays wall is only 4 feet. The Beard's wall was like 6 to 8 feet tall, and this Steed's holly grew up with it, not even for 2 or 3 years, and it was completely hid the wall. And the nice thing is that you could just cut it right. I'll go back to the other drawing. You can cut it right at the pool level. So it kind of looks like there's
Hmm.
nothing in your viewport. And it also serves as a pool enclosure fence. So that's the idea for that area around the back side of the pool. And then we just showed some flowering plants around the spa and more flowering plants around the built-in fire pits. We did show a lot of plants. So I had a question for the board. As you can see where the rustication that Kevin spoke about before, we had to have another spot for air conditioning units, and we're showing 3 of them right here, and also showing a lot of plants around the turret, the base of the turret, as well as screening plants to hide the air conditioner units. So a lot of the rustication will be somewhat hidden by the plants. And then we're also showing boxwoods and actually this new native plant that is a nice texture change to all boxwoods. It's gem box inkberry, and it's a small inkberry that grows thick and full, and it only goes 2 to 3 feet tall and can be maintained very low. So I'm showing that right in front of the front terrace, changing to some boxwoods that grow a little taller around the turret area, and then back to the gem box to have a formal landscape with a little bit wildness behind it. Like the hydrangeas will be a little wild behind the nice clip clean boxwood and gem box inkberry. And then on the side of the step wall, we're showing some climbing hydrangea, as well as some blue hydrangea. It's the only spot that's really shady enough for a little bit of blue hydrangea. Out in the landscape, showing a few more flowering redbud trees around the existing hemlocks, because they're kind of sparse and need to be thickened up a little and have a little foreground. And then behind the hemlocks, some more green giants, just to get a thick layer of screening. And then in this area, showing some white pines for a little bit more screening, where we don't have to worry about the width of the plant. It could get really, really wide in here. And then we're showing some river birch in the landscape beyond, to have something to look at in front of the existing woods to remain. And we did show one American beech tree here, just to have a nice young specimen tree that'll grow into, hopefully eventually grow into one of a big beech tree like the copper beeches that exist. And so if we want to, I can show you some of the materials on the material board. As I discussed previously, this is the Beard property. This wall is much higher than the Paces wall. This wall here is a 3 feet wall, 3 feet. This is immediately upon planting what it looked like. And again, next submission, I'll have a better photo. But as you can see, this is 5 years later, and it's completely full. And it was pretty well screened. This wall took a little while longer to screen, because it was right here at this point is 8 feet. But right now, the entire wall screened by the hollies. I took a photograph of the bluestone coping on the granite walls that we're proposing over around the driveway pullout of the garage. We considered the cost of pillow tops everywhere in here, and the benefit that the Paces will be the only ones seeing it pretty much. So we decided to go with the bluestone tops, and thinking that that is a nice solution, heavy enough to be in proportion with everything, and we left the pillow tops just for the tops of the columns. So I included a photograph of what that looks like right here. And then the steps that we're proposing that go down the landscape, let me show you on this drawing, down the landscape right in here to go down to meet the steps going up to the upper terrace and the lower terrace. will be the one-piece bluestone steps, which is shown right here. The retaining walls that were dry laid over here just to transition the grade and allow these steps to be installed will be dry laid granite, Tuxedo Park granite, and that's this wall. That's what this wall here is constructed of, and our intention is for the Paces walls to look similar. The one we are proposing bluestone pavement everywhere except the terrace below and the pool area because this pool is going to be in full sun and bluestone will burn everybody's feet, as the board is well aware. So there's this paver. It's made with, it's real stone paver, marble paver, called Affion Cloud Paver by Marmiro Stone, and it looks very similar. It looks close to bluestone. And if the board would like, I can submit a sample of that. But that is what we would like to use around the swimming pool so that it's not too hot for people to walk on barefooted. All other pavement, like I said, with the exception of the terrace below and the pool area, will be bluestone.
Okay.
And then at the entrance to the site, we were showing some Belgian block pavement. So I included a photograph of the Belgian block pavement. And we were also considering, and I'm sorry for the quality of this picture, and I have a better picture I will put on. We are considering, if the board would consider letting us use asphalt with big, a nice thick border of Belgian block around it, just because this is a slope going up into the park, the turnaround. And I thought it looked pretty nice. So this is the Sunnymead property. And again, I have a much better photograph of what it looked like. I thought it looked pretty nice with the asphalt, with the Belgian block surrounding it. So we were
It's
hoping the board
flush,
would
right?
consider something like that. Just because of, and the big reason is the slope, and it would always be a mess, you know, having everything I've tried with the gravel on top of a base course, it just gets loose after a year or two, and it has to be continually be redone, and it gets very messy. So we were just thinking that asphalt would be a better option if we could possibly use it.
Christopher, did you have a comment?
The question, the Belgian block you were saying, is that flush with the asphalt?
Yeah, yes, okay. So what we're thinking would be this, the wide band would be flush, and we would have a slight like 4-inch or so curb around the outside edge. Not, you know, a really tall curb, but a small one, a low one, a low curb. So there's the flush area of Belgian block that would be 3 courses wide, and then a raised curb that would be at 3 to 4 inches high.
The raised curve is something in Belgian block, that's something that we haven't seen too much success with in driveways. Is it possible to just keep it flush?
Yes, I think so. What do you think, Deb? I don't mind. I like keeping it flush, actually. It makes it a little easier for the grades too. Although I just have to, I have to check with the engineer because we were collecting water here.
Well, could you just take it down, Karen, to 1 inch from 3 inches? In other words, have it be
Yes,
proud enough for all practical drainage purposes without
yes, we can.
looking, you know, too striking.
And that would
Yes,
help.
and between now and the next meeting, I will go to another, a property where I've done a 3-inch curb and take a photo for you guys to look at to see what you think.
But I think,
And I'll check, it was put in maybe, I don't know, 5 or maybe more, maybe 7 or 8 years ago. And I can check to see how it looks, you know, if it's in good shape. But
it's
yes,
sort
we would be receptive to something like that, sure.
Because it's this sort of detail that when it's too manicured, and with a beautiful new house and then a manicured, driveway that's all with Belgian blocks all lined up, that sort of takes away the, it doesn't
I
too
understand
much.
completely.
And if I
And
may,
we-
the problem isn't usually the height from the driveway. It's the fact that it's proud on both sides. Does that make sense? Like if
It's that, wait, I didn't hear.
if the raised Belgian block that's standing on its end, right, is
Mhm,
proud of the grade on both sides,
mhm.
that is what gives a strange effect. I think that if I'm getting Christopher correctly, he's objecting to. If the ground is flush with it on the one side, on the lawn side, and then it's proud on the inside, that's less problematic.
Yes, that's exactly what we're thinking about. I hate when you see both sides of the curve.
Okay, well,
That's
you're
horrible.
half the way there, just if you do.
And
that.
I also don't like when they're lengthwise. We want them to, I mean, tall. We want them to be long, set long.
Okay, those are both, I mean, I think elongating it that way and
Yes,
having it be flush.
and
on-
so it's not so tall. Yeah, longer. It looks
And
a
having-
lot nicer.
Right, and having it be flush on the lawn side is already half the way there. And then if you just split the difference and go from 3 or 4 inches to, 1 3/4 to 2, you'd still get the drainage, but you'd have.
Yeah, I
most
just
of
want to
that
make sure that
covered.
will look good as good as the 3 inches. So I'm happy, we're happy to do it. We just want to make sure it looks, looks really good. Because,
Okay.
and I will also show a photograph of another property that I did years ago with 3-inch curb, and it looks really nice. So
Okay.
I just
well,
want,
that'd be
and I'll
great.
be
So
happy
maybe
to
we
show you a
should-
photo.
Yeah, maybe we should see what she comes up with the next time, unless anyone else has anything else on the landscape.
Just
A couple of,
quick,
go ahead.
quick thing on the entrance. Is it possible to explore some other options as opposed to the I sort of feel a ubiquitous laying of the cobblestones, if you will, at that juncture. Every house seems to be getting those, and I wonder if there's another material or something that could be done.
So we were hoping to do something a little different. I don't know if you can see. We were hoping, it is the Belgian block, but we were thinking that the square chunks would be nicer than having like the big, like everybody else has. So
I
we thought
agree.
that-
The square immediately feels more European.
I agree, yeah. Thank you, Karen.
And also, I just want to show you this detail, which I love. We have to put a trench drain in, and I hate the way they look. But if you like put them nicely with a nice border of Belgian block, so that's what the engineer is using to capture all the drainage from this driveway going down, and that catch basin will be right here. So you'll hardly know. I mean, the trench drain will be right here, so you'll hardly know that the trench drain is there. But it's industrial enough to tolerate, heavy traffic and also capture all the water before it goes out to the road. So
Come up with-
that's another detail we thought about. And I did use that at the park before. Here it is. I did use it at the park previous, and I thought it came out really, really nice.
Good. While we're at this picture here, if you go to the left of the lawns, there, those.
This,
so- Yeah.
the stone steps. Okay,
So,
so, excuse me.
Wait.
I just have a point to make about.
Wait a
the-
second, Karen.
I have a point to make about the lawns. The lawn on the left, if you could make it smaller a little bit, the bright green lawn on the left compared to the lawn on the right. No, sorry, it's those two images, number 24 and where the granite steps are. Yeah. So
Yeah.
the lawn on the right, that's so much more appropriate to Tuxedo Park. The
Oh,
lawn
then
on the left
this
is-
lawn. Yeah, I agree. I
The level
agree.
on the left
This
is
is
too
very
manicured.
manicured.
Yeah,
This is
too-
more like a golf course lawn.
Right.
And they actually had a golf course person
Hmm.
pick the lawn. This is, yes, this is more Tuxedo Park. Agreed.
Yeah, and the one on the left probably requires fertilizer. and that's the sort of thing we
A
want.
lot more care than this one gets no care.
Yeah.
Well, it gets cut, I should say.
And the other
But
couple of
so these are the steps that we're thinking about putting in, and we haven't, we were, so during the planning board review stage, we were asked to define this wood chip plant. Originally, we were just gonna have a wood chip path. And we were asked to make the building envelope go around the wood chip path. So since we have to make a building envelope around it, the Paces would like to add a couple of, groupings of steps in this area to negotiate the hill better. And
Nice.
also down in here to get down to the Continental Road. And this is the style of steps we were thinking about. And this is basically just granite steps that set into the landscape. And instead, on that hill, we might have mulch, or maybe if it's sunny enough, we might have a few areas of grass. That's yet to be determined. Right now, we're planning mulch between them. But that was the idea for this area, this mulch path here. And we're also showing rounded lawn steps down to the fire pit, and that's the what we're thinking about. This style of sorry, I lost it. This style of step down over there.
Great. I have a couple of questions. The choice of vegetation is great because you're incorporating lots of great natives. There's just one suggestion with the Pachysandra, switching it from the Asian one, the terminalis, to the procumbens, the Allegheny.
Yeah, I think that, so I've been experimenting with the Allegheny and it's been doing pretty well. So that, and I'll know more by the time this is ready to plant, how well it does in the park. And we would be more than, I believe that, I know Deb saw the Asian kind and really likes it, but that's because it's everywhere. So I can show her the native one. Hopefully next year it'll be nice and thick and full where we planted it. And I would love to use that. I just want to make sure it grows in nice and thick.
Of course. And the other question was tree number 59. I couldn't find it. It's a white oak that's 35 inches diameter in good condition.
Yes, that one had to go. I think it's right in this area.
Oh, okay. So it's in the building.
So that's one of the ones that, the only one, I believe it was you that asked us to retain several different trees. That's the only one that we couldn't retain.
There was
Here's,
another
I believe that you asked for this Hinoki cypress, which is lovely. And this one over here, which I believe is an oak, that one we were able to preserve, as well as some of these hemlocks over here. So I believe the only one we couldn't save was that white oak, which is right there. They don't oaks don't like any construction around them. So
and going back to the columns, the lighting fixtures on the columns, that was just a placeholder. It's not.
Yes, it is. We're having trouble figuring that out, but we're
we'll hold off on that one. Yeah.
But if we can you bring them up again though, Karen?
Sure. Yep.
The lighting fixtures?
They're on L2. Here we go.
Yeah, so this is less about the choice of fixture, actually, which I quite liked, but then there are 3 sets of columns. There's another set, which is at the entrance of the pedestrian walkway.
Yes, that one's up here. And we couldn't fit it on the same sheet. That's right here.
Yeah, so I was just looking and wondering, it's 4 feet at the top of the coping stone, right? That's 4 feet high. It seems odd that you'd have the lights below the coping stone when it's that low. That was my only question. I mean, I don't know.
So we're not allowed, we can't go beyond that 4-foot height. And we wanted a light, so that's why.
Oh, so you mean at the entrance of the driveway, it can be taller, is that right? Or you have the
Well,
variance?
we got the zoning variance that allowed us, and in fact, it's not as tall as I would have liked. I would have liked it taller.
Mhm.
But we got the zoning variance that allowed us to get, the 6 feet, 6 inches.
I mean, that looked very satisfying to me, this that you're looking at right now.
I agree. So we want to get a light. I mean, the other option I thought about, but I think it would be too weird, is to have a very low column with the light on top. But I think that's too weird.
Or maybe with this one, because you've got the nice light fixtures on the others, maybe these ones, it could be some, I forget which house has it, but it's recessed lighting. So it doesn't look like lighting, but at night when
Yeah,
you
I
need.
like that idea. I think, well, so maybe we just, even though it's a modern thing, we could just put one of those lights right underneath the cap on, on the roadside and the driveway side, and then we just see stone, and I
Sure.
like that a lot.
If it's
We'll
just
make that change.
sensible and invisible and a problem,
And of low wattage, yeah.
right?
Yeah, I think that would be very nice. I'm happy with that change. We'd be happy to do that.
But I think in general, the columns came out quite nicely. And I
Thank
love your big, heavy pillow coping.
Yeah, they're great.
They're
And
really-
it says Tuxedo Park as soon as you see
Yeah.
that.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Do any of the members have any other comments before we move on to either neighbors or engineer?
One last comment, Karen. When we were last talking at the last meeting, and I believe Michael O'Neill and a couple other neighbors who are just below were there, and I was talking about screening, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
hadn't actually walked Continental
I
Road.
think someone needs to go on mute. We're getting a lot of interference. Sorry, Rob.
Yeah. So in any event, I hadn't walked along Continental Road when I was suggesting planting cedars and things. And what I noticed when I did is that you have a ton of small white pine and spruce and fir saplings that are about 3, even 4.5 feet tall. And if you did some judicious topping above, just to let them have more light, they would just solve all problems all at once.
So I agree with that, and we're trying to put together wording for the covenant that will be on their property, so that we can do things like that. I think that would be that'll be a beautiful way to screen, because it's so natural looking, and why plant in if we don't need to, but we need to discourage some of the
Right.
some of those invasive vines in there, the Rosa multiflora, the barberry. There's a lot of that growing in there, as well as the burning bush. And then some of the weedy looking trees we would like to take out over time as those evergreens grow up.
I almost think that less rather than more is the thing there. I mean, having now visited it, I would, and I think Christopher will probably disagree. I would do judicious topping, get more light in there. I would take out certain things like maybe the Japanese barberry, and certainly any vines. And if there's any porcelain berry, I'll eradicate that. But I mean, you've got a lot of really good Euonymus alatus in there that's simply very good screening. And that's a 50-year-old plant or 70. And I would be disinclined to see you lose that.
I agree. I'm that way too, but we would
Well, I think
we would be judicial with cleaning out.
Because I think that in this instance, down at the bottom along Continental, the most important thing, if you're triaging, the most important thing is, I think, neighborly relations and screening, honestly. And so short of something like porcelainberry or, that's really terrible, if it's something like, Euonymus alatus, I would not let that go because it's giving you great screening.
Let me
Yeah,
interject. The Euonymus alatus, or burning bush, is great. I mean, it's in every botanic garden. It's a crowd pleaser. It's great for screening, but it does just as much damage to the forest as Japanese barberry. So it really is a thug, and spreads to our native forests. So that's why it's on the prohibited. I don't think it's on the regulated list.
Yeah.
The 575 regulated lists, as far as purchasing it. So it always is a big decision to remove it if it's already there. But it is a bad
Well,
ombre.
So
No,
I agree with all this, but I think that if it's managed slowly over time and other things start growing, like those white pines and
right.
other plant materials, then slowly the
That's a good
different
point.
plants can be removed. I
I
think
think
this
that's a
area
good point
should be
because the
managed.
difference I would draw, Christopher, between Japanese barberry and Euonymus alatus is that barberry simply doesn't screen at all, really. I mean, whereas these particular specimens, non-native as they are, of course, are 8 and 10 feet already in spread and in height. And I think when you're trying to balance all the considerations, I think going slowly, as Karen is saying, at least with that, probably does make sense.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's called repeal and replace. So
Yeah.
go slowly. And
Yeah.
once you, if there's a replacement for it, great. But otherwise, yeah, I totally agree.
But if you see porcelainberry, kill it.
Yeah,
I mean,
we're on board with that. We, the Paises want to provide screening. They want to be good neighbors. They also want a beautiful landscape. And so I think both options can be accomplished as long as
Okay.
and that's what we're working on with the planning board, to write the covenant in such a way that that screening is accomplished, as well as the Pace's desire for a beautiful landscape.
Okay, with there, I think we could leave it. I think we given sufficient guidance for you to come back with us the next time on this. We're getting a little deep here. And
Okay, thank you.
okay, do we want to unsave the screen?
Yes,
so
I'll
we can see?
unshare.
I have a question. So for the next meeting, I mean, will we need a list of, I mean, I guess for that rear, what will we need to provide, or would we need to go into more detail, Karen? I guess I'm not sure.
For which?
For the next meeting, right, with regards to that screening area, or do we need, yeah, I'm not sure. I
We
guess,
probably
yeah.
will get guidance, like, we probably will discuss whatever happens at the planning board meeting, I would think.
Okay.
We'll, of course, defer to the planning board's decision, and you can work around our discussion as well. With that, does our engineer have any comments on the latest plan?
No, I think they've addressed all of the comments that we had previously.
Excellent.
So
Okay.
I think good. Yep. Thank you.
And do we have any neighbors that wanted to make a comment this evening on this property? If you're on mute, you need to come off mute. If you're just listening, you're welcome to listen.
Mr. Steyer, you have to activate your microphone.
There
Thank
you go.
you. So first of all, hi, everybody, and particularly hi to Mr. and Mrs. Pace. So we are the neighbors on the north side. strike that. We are the neighbors on the south side. Thank God my wife is here. And I wanted to talk about the setup and the screening as it impacts our property. So the things to understand about the intersection between our property and the property immediately to our north, which is the Pace property, is that the hill slopes towards the Paces down Tower Hill Road. And our land is very terraced. If someone could put the screen back up that has sort of the whole lot on it, the one that we've seen the most of this evening, is that possible for someone to put that back up so we could look at it?
Karen, did you want to share your screen?
Yes, let me get the 3D. We started working on a 3D illustration for your point of view, Mr. Steyer. Let me see if I can put that up. In my email.
Well, just
I can pull it up as well if you'd like me to.
Let me see if I can, I can do it. It's just, it takes me a minute. I'm still learning how to do this. I have to hit share screen. Hold up. Share screen. I just have to go to my emails because that's where it is. I should have had this on here, but anyway. It's not, I can't do it. Okay, Dev, I think you should put them up because it's
Okay,
not
yep,
coming through on my
I already have them handy and ready.
Wonderful. And I have to stop the screen share. Hold on.
Are you guys able to see?
Well, we see some stuff. We see your emails. I'm sorry, Mr.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have to.
Okay,
to do
sorry
them back
about
up.
that.
It's on this screen. That's right.
But we find that you have 18 great cast iron skillet recipes.
Why can't
Put off your camera.
Is it still in my email?
Yes.
Okay.
Stop and share.
Yeah.
But you turned off your camera.
Ah, there you did it. Well
Yeah,
done.
thank you. Thank you, Dev. You're much more proficient at this than I am.
Yeah, hopefully it'll let me go back and forth with the photos. All right, so we can start with this one.
So, and I can describe it. We showed the green giant. This is growth after about 5 years based on previous experience. We're showing the green giants to be planted at 8 to 10 feet in height. They grow 3 feet a year or so. So in 5 years, they'll be 15 feet higher than 8 to 10s. So this is pretty accurate illustration. This viewpoint is actually up a little higher than you would be standing at your top level, looking down, just so you could we could show that you would see the house. The big Copper Beech is represented by the big tree that's over to the left. So you can see that you're going to have pretty good screening in a fairly reasonable period of time. In the beginning, the trees will be 8 to 10 feet tall at the time of planting.
And that would be about 2/3 as high as this. Karen?
That would be, yeah, you showed these at, how big did you
Those
show?
are
these?
actually those trees are shown at maybe, oh my God, I don't remember, 12.
The trees are shown about 12 feet tall in this picture.
The arbs.
The arborvitaes. So this is
If
actually.
they started out at 8, then they'd be 2/3
8
as
to
high.
10. Yeah, this is about a year after planting, to give you an idea.
All right. So there are actually 3 terraces down before you
Yeah.
start sloping down the hill. This is the bottom 2 terraces, I think.
No, so you could see the upper terrace. I'm sorry, I can't show you it because I
Yeah,
can't.
can you?
You can see one terrace layer, then another terrace, and then the lower terrace is all the way to your left.
So is this, Nanai, is this first one the highest?
Yes, this is shown at the highest terrace, correct?
Okay, so we're standing on the highest terrace
Yes.
from our car park. Yes, that's what I
Yes.
thought. So,
Yes.
and by the way, you've given us way too much credit for having,
Such a green lawn?
for the green lawn, yes. The second terrace is pretty much concrete. The third
Right.
terrace is our flat lawn.
We just did this for illustration purposes, just to show
No, it
like.
makes
what,
it
you
look
know.
much nicer. But, and maybe we'll take your advice. I guess that there are two big concerns that we have, and I know that screening is good from the standpoint of the Paces, and it is probably good from the standpoint of the Steyer Santanas too, but we don't want to face a wall. In other words, we don't, what has happened here is all of these Tower Hill lots are long and narrow. They're narrow as they face the roads, and they're long between the roads. And the Paces have designed a house which is very large and sort of stretches out horizontally on a lot that stretches out in the other direction. So it goes almost from end to end, you know, on the side, on the north-south side. And it comes right up to the edge of our property. And they have given us, at the edge of our property, 3 garage doors, a garbage disposal, I think, a garbage bin, 3 HVAC machines that make noise, and noise rises up the hill, and a paved, impermeable, sort of place for parking cars, you know, a parking lot. Right at the very edge of our property. Now it's down the hill from us, but there it is. And on the other side of our narrow lot, we have to the south of us, we have the sinks. And they just did a renovation, which we didn't pay any attention to stupidly. And they put in 3 gigantic HVAC machines that make a fucking racket, sorry for the vulgarism, you know, all the time. And their garage and their disposal area and their generator. So what we are, and we are an outdoorsy family, we have a big covered porch where people sit and like that. And
Can I interject here? Hi, I'm Nanaya. You guys can call me Nanaya. You don't have to call me Miss Santana. Can you mute yourself,
yeah,
please? Here.
I'll mute myself.
So this is the thing. First of all, Pace, I welcome you.
Yes,
I look forward to having you come. It'll be great to have a young family next door to us, as we have with the Sinks. You need to mute yourself, darling.
I'm trying.
This is a deal. We understand that you have this house and it's.
I'm gonna mute.
No, you're not. Can you go to another room? Do you guys hear that echo?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, how do we get rid of it?
I'm on mute.
Okay.
I
can
still
just
hear
go-
you. We still hear you though, so it's okay.
Okay, so I think your house, by the way, is lovely. I do actually agree with everything that Hume says, that these lots unfortunately are narrow, but yet long in between the roads. As he was starting to say, we are a very outdoorsy family. So in the summer, we basically move our living room outside to our balcony, and then we eat on the side of our house, which is a covered porch. Now, why do we move to Tuxedo Park? We moved to Tuxedo Park because of the tranquility, because of the nature, because you can hear the squirrels chirping and you can hear the birds singing in the summertime. Now, I'm a walker, and I am quite sure you guys know this, that HVAC systems make a tremendous noise. So basically, we have 3 HVAC systems from the sinks to the south of us, and now we're gonna have 3 more from the pays to the north of us. So basically, we're going to be living with a surround sound HVAC system, which is going to impact our quality of life because we like to live outdoors. We sit outdoors. And I think that that should be something that should be taken into consideration. I mean, we don't like the garages, we don't like the asphalt, fine. We're willing to deal with that because that's all coverage. But this HVAC system is a real deal here. And I really do think it should be taken into consideration.
Can I interject?
Oh, go ahead, Kevin. 'cause
Yeah, so I mean, for one thing, we did do, because that was brought up at the planning, not the planning board meeting, at the zoning board meeting. And we did agree to a multi-stage condenser unit, which is, and the quietest condenser unit that Carrier makes with an acoustic enclosure. I think at full bore, it's about 60 decibels, which is just above normal speaking level. And then it actually steps down when it's not needed on a hot July day. It steps down to, I believe, around 40 decibels, which is almost imperceptible. And they are about 100 feet from your property. If it really bothers you that much, we may be, and I'd have to take a look at it, the distance wise, we may be able to locate those to the other side of the property.
That would be lovely. Because look, we don't want to make this a difficult process. We are very much looking forward to have the pays next door to us. But because, you know, if we were an inside doorsy family would be great, but we're not. And sound does carry up. We have our windows open all summer long because I personally do not like stagnant air with the air conditioner. I like the breeze, which we get off the ridge constantly in the summertime. So if you guys could take that into consideration, that would be fantastic.
Okay.
Thank you for your comments. And it sounds like the pays and are considering them and have been considering them throughout the process. We try to make sure that all of the neighbors' concerns get aired. We can't always resolve all of them because some of them are just neighbors have to work with neighbors because we really just deal with the aesthetics. But if you could work, pays on seeing whether that solution would work for you, perhaps we can.
I just also wanted to add one other thing.
Sure.
You know, with regard to the location of the home too, and we understand the Steyer's concerns about how the lot is laid out. But what we were trying to do in doing so was also working with the natural topography of the land, because it slopes down. You know, that would have been a problematic issue, which is why the house was kind of positioned, I think, where it was.
So right, there are a few things. I mean, we were advised to keep the existing wall that's in the front of our house, the existing beech trees. So there was a certain distance that we had to place the house from Tower Hill Road. And if we made it deeper, which is there was an original house on this lot. I'm not sure how long ago, but I believe Rob had shared the photo with us.
I think Kevin had it at the first meeting too.
And it was very deep. And it wasn't as close to your property, but it was very deep. And the issue that comes up with having a deep house is the high retaining walls in the back. And then there's the issue of stormage or drain water. Stormwater drainage, because you're having high retaining walls in the back. So from our perspective, it was either we were going to get, you know, we make a deep house and we face problems doing that, or we make a wide house and we get problems facing that.
I think the main thing, you know, hopefully we wanted to try to get across, because a lot of these scenarios we had run into, Kevin, along with, you know, the engineers and Karen, we looked at different variations of things and try to figure out like what would kind of work the best. And then also went with the, you know, planning board's recommendations with work with the land, less disruption, try to preserve as many trees as possible. And that was our intention with doing so. So Yeah, I think,
Yeah,
And I'd like to add something that this upper terrace is where you park your cars. And so the beauty of the whole plan is that your cars are parked at the same distance, pretty much the same distance from the road as the Pace's parking court is. It's almost identical. So having the two like elements face each other is much better than having, say, the parking area of the Pace's next to an outdoor terrace of yours. Your driveway is right opposite the Pace's garage entry. So it's really, you're only looking at the garage doors from when you're getting out of your car or you're going to and from your car. So it's like the perfect spot to minimize all of the impacts, because you look at your car, then you look over at the Pace, and you won't see too much because we're putting up the screening. But if you did see the cars, you're just looking from your car to their car. So that, in my mind, is much better than, you know, being out in your backyard looking at cars.
Well, I know the planning board is continuing this conversation and we're kind of auxiliary to that at the moment, but we hear what you're saying and we're hopeful that you can work it out. Does anyone else have anything to add? Any other neighbors or? Okay. Well, we thank you for the update. The house looks great. Thank you for Ms. Santana and Mr. Sire for joining the call. And absent that, we'll see you next time. Well, when you're ready after you've gone through the planning board and with some revisions. Unless anyone has anything else, I'd like to move it along to our second application, the Basilevskis. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I have to go to the airport, so we do have a quorum if I leave.
Yes, we do.
I apologize.
Safe travels.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
you.
Thank you all.
Thank you
Yeah,
for
night.
joining.
Nice to see you, Pazes.
Be safe, be well. Good night.
Yeah, thank
Good
you.
night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. The Basilevskis, thank you for your patience and welcome to the bar.
Thank
You
you.
got a little flavor for what goes on here.
Yes, we did.
Do you want to share with us your plans by sharing the screen so we get a flavor for your project?
Of course.
So it's Karen here, and I can share their drawing.
You again? Okay.
Yeah, me again. Hi.
Sure, that'd be great.
Okay, just like, hope it comes in quicker than.
Maybe as Karen's doing that, I'll just say something on behalf of Christina.
Terrific.
You know, we're obviously rather new to the park. We moved in a year and a half ago. You know, in addition to falling in love with Tuxedo Park, our house, which some people refer to as Blue Stable, is, you know, one of, and at least in our opinion, and we've been told this by others, you know, is a real sort of landmark in the park. And, you know, we fell in love with the history and the architecture of it. You know, and really, there's nothing that we want to do to sort of change the way our home looks to the community. You know, we want to. Oh, here are the photos. Okay, but in any event, you know, the plan for anything that we're doing with respect to the pool is really, in, I guess, a very conscious effort to make it look like this pool has been there for a very long time. We want to keep it as simple and as aesthetic or as aesthetically similar to the home, and really nothing fancy. We're trying to keep it, you know, as void of any extra type of detail, just so that it blends very nicely with the landscape and with the existing home.
Well, welcome, and that's nice to hear.
So I think I'm sharing. Am I sharing the screen now?
Yes.
Okay. So I put their entire property up. It's over 11 acres, and this is, you can see where the swimming pool is proposed. It's perfectly situated right outside, and this is an existing patio. and it's right outside their existing patio. This is a hill over here, pretty much that completely screens the swimming pool area from the road. That's right along this area here. And I will go to the second sheet. It's not the arrows. Okay, and so this shows the swimming pool in greater detail. It's basically a 40 by, I mean, a 18 by 40 swimming pool in an existing flat lawn area. And again, here's the existing patio, and then this is a flat lawn area. There's a deer fence that currently exists right here. And we're proposing to put a pool enclosure fencing around the pool in this area, along with plantings around. The pavement will be some kind of herringbone pavement. Christine Basilowski liked the herringbone. She especially liked the brick herringbone pavement.
Well, actually, I had reached out to the Historical Society, and they had said that we used to have herringbone in our front entrance or in the courtyard, or so that's why I'm picking that, because I did see it in the archives.
And that's a beautiful pavement that's nice and cool around the pool area. So we're showing this patio and then a smaller area just to walk around the pool with lawn. And in this area is an existing fireplace, and we just wanted to make a bigger patio down here so that when they go down to the fireplace, they have a place to sit. The grade drops off in this direction to the big lawn beyond, and we showed a retaining wall that to hold up the swimming pool and to make it a level area for the patio. And then we're connecting to the existing patio with 4 steps that go down to the pool area. And then this is the stone pavement around the front of the house, and it goes, there's a existing walkway that goes around the back, and we're putting a new walkway in that connects to the proposed swimming pool. So that, and then, so again, here's photographs of some of the proposed materials. We're proposing a trellis similar to the sheer trellis over the existing patio to give shade. This is the style of fencing we're proposing to be in keeping with the horse farm theme of the rustic look of the whole property. And I apologize, I realize now I should have more pictures of the whole property, and I'd be
maybe next time it'll be helpful to see in perspective.
Yes, so that you could have a better perspective. And then this is just again the same picture that I showed before of the retaining wall that we're proposing on this one side right here. So it's basically a very contained area. I'll show you the whole property again. Sorry, I gotta find out. I'm not used to using my laptop as much as
right arrows.
So, okay, so you can see it's just this little tiny sliver of property on their overall on the big, a little tiny piece within the 11 acres that is proposed. So this is Turtle Point Road, and then this road here, which we will put labels on the drawing next time. This is the
that's Westlake.
Westlake Road around this way here, to give you perspective. And again, I'll include some photographs to show you exactly what that looks like. But this is a photograph from over in here. Let me pull this up a little bit more. So these are photographs from right beyond the. I'll show you right here, looking in. They're all labeled. The number 5 is from looking up a little higher. Looking down, there's a beautiful waterfall, and And as you can see through the woods, this is this time of year, so you can see that the pool area will be very, if I zoom in, you can just barely see it. And that the pool area is right where I'm pointing. And again, I'll show you where that is. Sorry, whoops. Come on. That is from this view right here, looking down. So that, I don't know if the board has questions, but I know that there was some letters from the neighbor, and we, Bo Bezalevsky did, there was some questions about sound, and he put together a video to describe, to show you how the sound is attenuated because of the long distance it is from the neighboring properties. So does the board have questions while it's?
Yeah, don't take the screen down.
No, I think you picked a very natural spot for it. It fits in neatly, and I know how exposed you all are. It's a great, I think it's a perfect spot. It doesn't fight with the architecture or the land.
Great, thank you.
Does anyone else have any comments? Okay, I would note that we did note, as you referenced, we did notify the neighbors, and there are, I think, a couple of letters that we did receive that should be entered into the record, that I think dealt with, as you said, noise, maybe lighting. Did you want to address those? Have you seen those?
Well, I can address the lighting. So the only lighting we're proposing, and I will show it on the next plan, would be swimming pool lights, 4 of them right here. We're proposing to put it on this side so that the light shines towards this direction, away from the surrounding roads. And that's the only lighting, with the exception, we might put a path light or two, some of those low level path lights, just so that it's easy for the Bezalevskys to, to see, to get down to the pool area. But besides that, the 4 lights in the pool and a couple path lights, are not proposing any additional lighting.
No overhead lighting.
That's wonderful, Karen and Christina and Bo. And I think, that's the one thing of the comments from the neighbors that you have total control over, right? And I think that's very thoughtfully proposed.
Agreed.
So we'd like to see the fixtures that you proposed just when you get to that point. And just to reference, I think we need to reference it. It's, I think, John, the letters were from Mr. Glynn and Mrs. Lindsay.
Correct.
Yes, those will be entered into the record. Do you want to have any more discussion? Well, I mean, the noise is something you have to take into account. And as I said to the Pays, we try to voice concerns and be responsive, but we can't resolve all concerns other than hope you can mitigate them and see if there's an alternative. But
So would you like me to comment on the noise?
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to stop my screen sharing so you can share.
All right, thank you. Want to apologize in advance. I'm not, I'm not an architect or anything, but I do. I'm a little bit of a math guy, and so I kind of dusted off my physics books, and I want to talk a little bit about the noise piece. So my wife and I have done a number of projects on smaller properties, and actually one on a larger property. And, inevitably when we get to this point and noise comes up, the first sort of point that is made is, will you provide some sort of cover or screening? And I think, and maybe some of you already know this, but with respect to the neighbors' comments, I would say that screening only provides a very minimal amount of attenuation on the noise. I mean, specifically, like if you took, the reading up on this, if you took 100 feet of conifers and put that as a barrier between our property and another, you would only reduce the decibel level by 5 decibels. And that sounds, very low, but it's a fact. The best thing that we can do to attenuate the sound is really have distance. And if you do the math, right? The math is that if you pick the decibel level at a source, so if I'm saying we're having, let's say, 8 people at the pool, and we're running, let's say it's right around 85 decibels is roughly what, they say 80, I'm saying 85. And you then add in for the additional people, put it at 95 decibels, right? If you say that's the noise at 1 foot away from the source, right? For every time you double the distance, the decibel level goes down by 6 decibels. So very simply, the summary is, if I look at the distance from our pool out to the Glens, which is 500 feet, by the way, to their home roughly, and I measured it out, right? The decibel level drops from 95 to 41, right? And 41 is essentially equivalent to the hum of a refrigerator, right? Whispers are at 35, 30. This is at 40, right? So, I mean, I have a video, in case no one cares about the math, I have a video that simply shows how the noise attenuates. And I recognize, and they make a fair point, that there are all sorts of angles and refraction. There are, there's topography that we have to consider, humidity, whatever. I understand all that, but the biggest mitigator is distance. And I just want to show out, if you will indulge me for a second, this video shows that we actually get the noise down to extremely quiet. So just one sec, here's the screen. Can you all see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
So here's the video. This is me starting from the pool area with a stereo playing at full volume, max volume. And then I walk all the way over to the Glens, and you'll see that you can't even hear it.
Demonstrate that you can't actually even hear the stereo cranked up to max volume from where the pool's going to sit. So I'm going to turn on the stereo speaker and crank it max volume. I'm going to walk over to where the Glens property is, just to prove a point.
You see me from the Glens. Erase that or? Over there, I don't care.
I'm gonna finish watching this.
Through the fence here. As you can tell, the volume's fading, and that's before we even get to this waterfall. And this waterfall here this is running, hasn't rained for I think it's third day after rainfall, maybe the fourth, I'm not sure, but in any event, we're not even at the road before the Glens driveway. But as you can tell, you can't even hear the stereo cranked up to max volume.
Anyway, hopefully, there's more to the video, but I don't want to bore anybody.
Yeah,
But
no.
hopefully the point is made that you can't actually hear it from that distance. And, you know, that said, what we really want to point out is that we are absolutely, very conscious of our neighbors' concerns. We will, as we wrote in the letter that I believe I shared with Mr. Ledwith, and we are absolutely willing to address any concerns that they might have. And if there's, and for the record, in the note they said that there were noise complaints, and that they had a noise complaint. Nothing was ever. We were never approached. The police never approached us. We are completely unaware of any sort of noise issues whatsoever to date. But if there were any that cropped up, we would address it immediately. And that's really the best we can offer. So hopefully, I'm sorry for taking the extra time, but we wanted to sort of show that, we feel that it's situated in a spot where it will not affect any of our neighbors. I know there's another neighbor here, Sayed and Karen, that maybe they have a question, but whatever the concerns may be, we will try to address them and be good neighbors throughout our stay here in Tuxedo, which is hopefully for quite a long time.
Well, thank you for that good faith effort. Do we have a neighbor here? Is it Mr. McCain? Do you have a comment? Or were you just listening?
Just listening.
Okay, you're welcome. Thanks for listening. All right. What about the engineer? Did you want to go through your comments? Have you shared them? I know that they haven't had a lot of time to take a look at them. Andy?
Yeah, we've got, I know they're going to be coming back. So there's 13 comments.
And most of them were logistical, I think, kind of mechanical.
Yeah, and
that you could share.
With showing topography, and Karen's well aware of most of the things that we normally get into, and I'm sure she will address these as her plans move along. So
okay, so if they've been shared, maybe we can revisit next time.
Yes, we have no problem working on those comments.
Thank you. John, are any variances required to your knowledge?
Based upon my preliminary review,
Yeah.
They satisfy all the zoning requirements.
Okay. Does anyone else have anything else to add? Well, thank you. If not, thank you for coming and showing us your preliminary plans. They look like a good start to me. I think others agreed. We hope you'll continue to work with your neighbors to find an amicable resolution or just understanding about any issues they may have going forward.
We will, and for the record, we got a nice response after we explained ourselves to the Glyns, and they said they're very happy to know that we're willing to work with them as well. So like I said before, we will do whatever is necessary to make sure that our neighbors feel like we are conscientious of their privacy. And
that's great to hear.
Yeah, we appreciate that. And thank you for bringing forward your plans at an early stage. And Karen will look forward to seeing your revisions.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. I think that's all for our applications this evening. I don't believe we have any minutes this week to approve. So I'd like to make a motion, unless anyone else has any business. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Is there a second?
Yep.
All in favor? All right.
Aye.
All right. Meeting adjourned. Thank you all for coming and have a nice evening.
Have a nice
Good night,
night.
everybody.
Good night.
Right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.